All right, thanks everybody for showing up. Yeah, gonna do teaching again today, and the Om again, and this time it's going to be with the 7 rays of God and the 7 rays to 7 chakras and the Great Invocation. And the teaching is based on, again, the 4th ray, but understanding the elemental aspects of rays are found in the vehicles of a person, like in the physical vehicle or the emotional vehicle or in the relationship of the mental vehicle. Yeah. So the process of the rays is expressed according to the consciousness of the individual. Yeah. So let's say that a person is not very evolved. Yeah. So, and let's say they have a 3rd-ray physical body. Well, that 3rd-ray physical body could be their entire dominant ray package. Yeah. They're not that smart, but they think they are. Yeah. And they can really carry out work. Yeah. Yeah. And they could get through school and do the things that are needed to do. Can you move back over here? Yeah, there you go. And be able to fulfill a process of, yeah, that's fine. Fulfill a process of being able to work within society. Yeah. That's just the physical plane. Yeah. So the elemental aspects of the physical plane is, I can't have any movement back there. Right. Let's turn it off. The influence of humanity is based in the physical, yeah, and the elements of the physical. Yeah. And most people, whatever their physical reality is, yeah, that is their expression. Yeah. It's what dominates them. Yeah. So it's really hard for them to begin an integrated scenario of multi-dimensional reality, which would be chakras. It would be having an emotional body. That's a shocker in itself. Yeah? That means you have to be sensitive and discern and discriminate, and that's having an emotional body, not having a mental body. Yeah? Yeah. So there's a lot involved in the process of being able to shift from the physical element that everybody has a trigger response to the emotional element that everybody needs to heal from, yeah, because they're all being vampired out of having sensitivity and becoming more and more physical. Yeah, more and more dominated by intellectuality and ways of thinking and how people relate and how life goes about, and all those answers, are all majorly a part of that lowest elemental nature. Yeah. It's in the higher elemental nature that the influences of the awakening of a soul start manifesting inside of a person. But that means that their unique qualities of mind is very different than the relationships inside of humanity. So in most cases they can't really relate. They can't communicate. They can't have interpersonal relationships. They're very much off on their own. They're very much, without the ability to form, big relationships or even be in a big corporate situation. They're too sensitive. And it's not that they're an artist. It's not that they're dominated by their creative need to, be an expressive person. That they can't fit in. They gotta be themselves. But they have an awakening response inside their emotional body that triggers a situation of becoming aware of what it is in their own mind that is lacking in a relationship of being able to clarify and find balance. Yeah. And that's the emotional body. Yeah. How to get to the mental body is overwhelming. Yeah, for people to reach into that state, to have that state of consciousness. Yeah, it really triggers an enormous amount of energy, of vitality required in that person in order to maintain that high level of high-minded, will aspect of control over the emotional body and control over the physical body, and having the higher mind being the dominating, quality of everything filters through it. It's a monadic, higher sensory relationship to God. Yeah? And the emotional body just purifies you. It gets you more and more and more and more and more able to get to that mental body. Yeah. But all those things, each one has, in every individual, each individual has ways that they see things, how they express and how they feel. Yeah. And so it's in the physical body that the connection between the mind, the higher mind, and all of humanity who's stuck in that physical elemental body. Yeah. The connection is the relationship of God. Yeah. That's found in an inner plane, in an inner consciousness, in the inner sensitivity in your solar plex. Yeah. And you worry, you got all this other stuff going on that dissolves that inner relationship of seeing and feeling. And because imagine that solar plex is on a spiritual note, it's your experience of devotion. So what would you be experiencing there that would make you devoted? Is it some kind of pie in the sky spiritual kind of philosophy or a belief system, or ooh, God exists, or something like that? Or would you actually be standing in front of Jesus? Would you see his face? Yeah? Would you hear him? Would you find that you are devoted to the teacher? And the response of the solar plex is a natural response. Yeah? But until that happens, it has nothing to respond to. Does that make sense? Yeah? Until then, you're devoted to water. Yeah? You're devoted to gasoline. That devotion goes into everything. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? It creates a hook. Yeah? And this physical process, this physical world, has a very strong natural magnetic process to it that energizes human nature to have a lower astral body, and that comes right out of the solar plex. Yeah? And it's spread through an influence of misdirected devotion. Yeah? A process of not so much about thinking about being devoted to anything, whether it be selfishness, yeah, which it usually is, yeah, which is misdirected devotion. Yeah. And if there's service involved, then it's self-service. And magic begins to happen. How do you create the scenario for you to be served when you're acting as though you're serving? You have to create that scenario. So that's where the solar plex comes in again. Where it could be devotion. And in doing all that, you're not in front of the guru. You're not in front of the, because it's happening to many, too many, people, places, and things, that go on. We are misdirecting our devotion, misdirecting it toward high school, or misdirecting it toward, a teacher's belief system, or, makes sense? It's just our physical world, what it pushes us, into being devoted to, and to having as an ideal. Literally, it constantly gives us the picture, we have to stand up and be prideful, whether we're gay or whether we're, Americans, or, or whether we're black or Indians, or, makes sense? And there's something wrong. If we're looking for peace, because all of that influence, that influence, is due to the fact that we're devoted to a hierarchy that controls our physical realm. Because we're based on devotion. Either we're devoted to that one, or we're devoted to that one. And it's not like, oh shit, what am I doing wrong? How can I change that? It comes through the influence that comes with the qualities, like when I said, what is in that devotion? What makes you devoted? It's an experience. It's the coming in contact with the guru. Whether it be by teaching or by experience or by recapitulation, it's that experience, that brings it back around, because it doesn't happen from the lesser experiences where people say, well, I used to be a disciple, so you can get it from me. And you're looking so hard, that you accept that. Does it make sense? And it just, there is no lesser scenario. And that's the way it really is set up in nature, in our nature. We're set up that way because we really are one with God, and there is one God. So there's no way we can be disconnected unless it's through this process that I'm talking about. The influence of that astral plane that influences the ability for us to live in delusions of grandeur over our failure. It's not like we're failures, but it's like we can't see enough to be able to move through it. So we're in a state of inertia. We accept that as our personality. That's who we are. That's our situation. This is how we behave. This is how I talk. This is how I react. This is how I respond. But when it comes down to it, to that person, to that simple person, there's a whole other being that's there. When they get to that really simple, really meditative, really intuitive, really Buddhic place. So when you study the rays, and you're getting to understand the relationship of these elemental influences, and how the physical body is taken over by all this kind of stuff that's happening in the solar plex, pushing us down, misusing us, through this psychic nature. But all those elements, the fourth ray is the key element that manifests our ability to come out of it. And it's not because we have to look around and see, all the pretty people are the hierarchy. Because, fourth ray is supposed to be beautiful. It's not. It's not what it's about. It's about the real ray. It's about the energy of the influence of that ray that comes from God. Not about a person, but about a real, pure expression of that ray. So when that ray is expressed, it doesn't just express on the physical plane. It expresses to clarify the influence on the higher mind. So the best ray of the influence of the fourth ray is the best ray of the influence of the mind. If there was any ray to be influencing the mind of humanity, it's the fourth ray. Yeah? It's the one that allows people to have synthesis and gain understanding and develop clarity and move up into Buddhic mind. Yeah? It's actually something that will become natural in the future as part of the major blessing that comes from the planetary logos by emanating the fourth ray and giving people the ability to not be subjected to that fourth ray so much in the physical and in the emotional, which is where it's stuck. And you can't experience it in the mental, which is where it's in the mind of Christ. It's the way he sees things. Does it make sense? Yeah. All the fourth ray I feel, but one of the major benefits that humanity will experience is the influence of the fourth ray that reaches the higher mind, the mental body. Yeah, because it's that higher mind, that influence of higher mind, when the fourth ray is radiating, then it becomes the mind of thought form building. So who knows what comes first, the chicken or the egg, or our negative thoughts? Do they create activities and actions and circumstances in the world? Is it possible? Not that it's analytical. Now, I thought this, therefore that must happen because it has a resemblance of color or name or circumstance. Has nothing to do with anything like that. That is, again, your physical lower mind being subjected by the false hierarchy speaking through your head. Does it make sense? Because that's what intellect is. It's not you thinking. It's a bunch of little demons having a conversation. Does it make sense? And it's the best thing in the world to get rid of those freaking demons, because you could have hundreds of them in your brain, and all you're doing is having conversations with freaking demons all day long. Does that make sense? Yeah? It's not worth it. Yeah? So the best thing to do is turn them off. Yeah? Whenever there's nervousness, then that's the fourth ray at the emotional body. Yeah? And you don't have a fourth ray at the emotional body. Why would you have those experiences? Because something in the fourth ray energy of Earth and the negative side is expressing the negative imperil of the Earth into things. Does that make sense? Yeah? The Earth is fourth ray. So it's going to go through your physical body like crazy. And you're going to have fourth ray experiences in your physical realm. And you're going to have fourth ray experiences in your emotional body. Yeah? Does that make sense? No matter how much you meditate, no matter what you go through, you're going to go through the ups and downs of emotional currents, And if you study the fourth ray emotional body, you're going to think, holy shit, I must have a fourth ray emotional body. Yeah? Because that is the influence that we're being hit by. Yeah? And the way we clear it is by balancing out that influence with the energy of the second ray. Yeah? And that comes through listening to my crap. Yeah? Me talking. Because the things I say, how I express, and how I set myself up, my music all around me, and these big old ass bowls, how dramatic can you get? Yeah? Yeah? But it's really not. It's necessary. It's necessary. These are my bowls. This is what you listen to when you listen to my pujas. Yeah? This is real time, in-house puja. Yeah, I'm not cutting it, to where, you're not getting the whole thing. You get drums, you get puja, you get me. Yeah, so this is spontaneous puja. This is what you hear on the tracks. Yeah, but you don't get to take it with you. It only goes into your body, and it resonates in spontaneity. And that furthers the earth. Make sense? Because in truth, where I come from, you cannot own anything. Yeah, I don't like writing things down. Yeah, because people they'll go, whoa, you wrote that down for this person? You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you've been demonized. In hell, where I come from, we don't own people. People don't own us. Make sense? We don't relate like that. Yeah, makes sense? So it's a really bad, imperiled energetic field that we're all going through. Yeah? And by me using these bowls, and by me setting up these pyramids and everything, yeah, by me doing what I do, that's very, very, very second ray. Yeah? It's not what everybody goes, oh, second ray is a teacher, and second ray is a healer, and all that stuff. But if you really study it and really understand it, second ray is a really high form of consciousness. Yeah? And it has to do with seeing divinity in things and understanding that so well that you understand geomancy. Yeah? That your teaching is geomancy. That it's applied geomancy. Yeah? And it's the hardest of all teaching. It includes the rays. Everything that I do, is based on second ray. It's my personal expression. So all of this is second ray, fourth ray, seventh ray, no fifth ray. Yeah, it's just the energy of the first ray, this pyramid. Yeah, and the energy of the seventh ray, which would be the base of this pyramid. Yeah, and then all the influences of the other rays that are spontaneously in this pyramid. Yeah. So through spontaneity, just like karma yoga, we have the ability to turn the wheel of dharma, sometimes faster and sometimes more powerful, and sometimes it sticks. Yeah. Depends on how you do it. Depends on who's doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Because it is not about cooperation. It is about annihilation. Yeah? Because of the process that goes on with evil and the intention behind evil to wipe away God, the angelic reality has set up a law in order to wipe away that which tries to wipe away God. And those are called the seven rays. So when the seven rays are put into action in a science, that which is trying to wipe away God is wiped away. And it just takes a matter of time, but it is erased. It doesn't just become dysfunctional. It becomes erased. It does not have a future. It becomes erased. Does it make sense? Yeah? Because it's lunar. They're false rays. They're created under false, elemental, delusionary processes that when humanity lets go of them, it also lets go of the creator of those processes. And that's done through the negative side of the fourth ray, through destructive thought form building. Yeah? All the different ideas mankind comes up with. Hey, let's play football with or without a helmet, Joey. They put the helmets on because it hurt them so bad in the very, very early days. Yeah? Does it make sense? And then they wanted to outlaw it. The President of the United States wanted to outlaw football as it first was coming out because of the concussions, because they were pulling people off the field. They didn't hardly have helmets. They had just leather on their head. So it's that fourth ray energy that is constantly moving through humanity that makes us do dumb things, that puts us through harmony through conflict. And it turns the wheel, that is, if you can imagine in the glamour, God in the machine, and Maya, two rays that say that psychically a web can be manifested by creating bad karma against each other, which interconnects that web, rather than the freedom of God moving us around through dharma. loving and blessing and caring for each other whenever needed. Yeah, which is not a web. Does that make sense? It's a light field. Yeah, it's a bridge. Yeah, from one level of consciousness to the next, and it just serves everybody to ascend. It's natural. Yeah. So it's in this science. It's called the science of redemption. And there is no repenting required. Yeah. There is recommendations. Yeah. So I give taking refuge as a very quick, I bet you this is probably a good idea, you should do this kind of thing. Yeah. Because it really does make the biggest difference in the process of humanity's change in the world. No matter who does it, how many people do it, one person could have a magnitude of 100,000 people, in effect. Yeah, it's like the butterfly and its wings and all that. Think of a human being, the force and power behind a human being, turning the wheel of dharma, saying, I take refuge, knowing they're taking refuge from being pretty shitty. Yeah? It doesn't matter how shitty. It doesn't matter. Not at all. Because of the science of redemption, yeah, there is no repenting. Just don't do it anymore. Does it make sense? Because the wheel of karma begins in the now, not from the past. Yeah? And that's what comes with the fourth ray. That's the influence. When the fourth ray comes into the energy of the physical body, that's the bliss that we get experience from. Yeah, is the bliss of the ability to pull up our good karma. Yeah, to feel the interchange between humanity and the future, and how other people helped other people, and it just keeps going. You feel that. Yeah, rather than feeling by not doing a lot of things, you do literally feel the process of so many people not doing many things. Yeah? Because you're just not aware that one person could make a really big difference. Yeah? Yeah. Make sense? Yeah. Yeah. So that's the fourth ray. That's harmony through conflict. Yeah. And if when people take refuge, they're kicking the butt out of the fourth ray in the emotional body and the fourth ray in the physical realm. And they're opening their heart up to Buddha, who has a fourth ray in the brow. Yeah? And that fourth ray in the brow is pushing the fourth ray down, away from your fourth ray. It's destroying it. It's Mara. It sits right there in front of him. He can't change it. That's all there is in this world, is the force of that fourth ray hovering over his brow. Yeah? Does that make sense? As he fights that every day, yeah, that influence becomes the harmony of the higher mind of the fourth ray. And it becomes a blessing into humanity and thought form building. And you look around and you see TV and you see all the things happening in the world. It's because there is one person making that difference. And it's same with everybody else. Every other person could make that difference. Yeah? Not in such a big way, but it's the receiving and the turning of that wheel that makes it possible for people to move faster into the first two initiations. Yeah? Does that make sense? Because it's not for building. Yeah? If we take refuge, you will begin, everybody will massively begin receiving much more intuition and telepathy than they do the astral garbage that they're getting. And who knows how powerful you might be. Yeah? You might just be sitting on a light bulb. Make sense? Yeah? Yeah. But you can't do that in negativity. You can't do that in, why is this all going on? Why do people act like this? Why is this like that? Why that? Yeah. That's so much lower physical. Yeah. Makes sense? Yeah. Yeah. Key. Alrighty, so going to do the invocation. I'm going to do these bowls right after the meditation. Ready? Alrighty. That makes it a lot quieter. Thanks. All right. Close your eyes. Just repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad.
I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad.
To guide me into the right activity of the plan.
To guide me into the right activity of the plan.
To clarify and stimulate my mind.
To clarify and stimulate my mind.
To transform and to transmute my feelings and emotions.
To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions.
To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body.
To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body.
Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ, to serve the One.
Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ, to serve the One.
All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I
Take a
invoke
deep
the
breath.
power, the love, and the wisdom of your ashram, soul, and monad. To guide you into the right activity in the plan. I invoke the alignment of the seven rays. To your seven chakras. I invoke the alignment of the third ray. To your throat center. I invoke the alignment of the seventh ray. To your sacral center. invoke the light of the Christ within. I invoke the nature of the Buddha that you are to become. I invoke the mind of the Devic angelic beingness that you can be. I invoke the celestial spheres, the sounds of heaven, the sounds of God, the song of love. I invoke the releasing of the veils of Kundalini on earth.
Sacred sites, Great Pyramid.
I invoke the healing through the meridians and the ley lines of this earth, the pulse of the seven rays, the awakening of the logos, the healing of humanity, the coming forth of the hierarchies, the saving grace of truth.
Planetary logos, solar logos, cosmic logos. One God, one law, one love.
I invoke the angel that you are to wake up,
Science of redemption, science of God.
expressed as the soul. I invoke the sense of hearing in the seventh ray, hearing the word of God, the word of power. Touch, and the first ray as the finger of God. I invoke the sense of sight as the third ray, as the eye of God. I invoke the sense of taste as the sixth ray, as the desire of all the nations. Sense of smell as the fourth ray, the beauty of revelation. I invoke the sense of intellect as the fifth ray, as the knowledge of God. I invoke the sense of intuition as the second ray, the understanding of God. I call upon the synthesis of the seven rays to be expressed through your personality. As the first ray of ideas, the mental body, the purpose, your life. astral body and your quality. The third ray of idleness, your physical body and your form. The fourth ray of the fourth kingdom of humanity in balance. The fifth ray, the third kingdom, the animals. The sixth ray, the second kingdom, vegetables. The seventh ray, the first kingdom, minerals. I call upon the relationships of all the kingdoms to penetrate the personality of humanity and express its collective soul. The seventh ray and the fourth ray is the mineral kingdom. The second ray, the fourth ray, and the sixth ray as the vegetable kingdom. The third ray and the sixth ray as the animal kingdom. The fourth ray and the fifth ray as the human kingdom. The fifth ray and the second ray as the egoic soul. The sixth ray and the third ray as planetary lives. The first ray and the seventh ray as solar lives. I call upon the seven rays of all the nations to penetrate the planet Earth, to bring forth the geomantic relationships of the soul, to integrate the egoic ray and the personality ray of each nation, and to express its true expression, to make manifest peace on earth as one living body of God. I call upon India to bring forth its fourth ray of personality and to integrate its first ray of soul to manifest the hidden light. I invoke China to bring forth its third ray personality, to integrate its egoic soul into its first ray, to manifest as the indication of the way. I invoke Germany to bring forth its first ray of personality, to integrate its egoic soul of fourth ray, to preserve the truth. to integrate its fifth ray of egoic soul to release the light. I invoke Great Britain and its first ray personality and its second ray egoic soul to bring forth its service. I invoke Italy and its fourth ray personality to integrate its sixth ray soul to carve the two paths. I invoke the United States and its sixth ray personality to integrate its second ray soul to light the way. I invoke Russia and its sixth ray personality to integrate its seventh ray soul to link the two ways. I invoke Australia and its fifth ray personality to integrate its fourth ray soul and serve the lighted way. I invoke Spain and its seventh ray personality to integrate its sixth ray soul to disperse the clouds. I invoke Brazil and its second ray personality to integrate its fourth ray soul to hide the seed. I invoke the entity of this planet, the planetary logos, to incarnate the light and the beingness of this planet. I invoke the expression of the second ray force into both the personality and the egoic rays of the nation and the personality of the egoic ray of humanity to fuse itself and its light into its healing process. I invoke the esoteric law of solar energy to make manifest the cosmic force of light, love, and peace.
meditation on the path of the inner light. Sit erect. Be relaxed. Be in a position of physical comfort. Withdraw your consciousness inward in slow, successive stages, using your imagination. Your imagination is a creative activity, producing definite inner changes. You can depend on this, for it is one of the forces of influencing substance itself. Withdraw your consciousness from the physical brain. After you have centered it deeply in the brain, withdraw it and place it to the astral body. From the astral body to the mind. Now recognize yourself as being an integrated personality. From the integrated personality to the soul. Focus upon seeing a thread of golden light which connects these three bodies. The body of your physical brain, your astral body, and back to the mind. Keeping your consciousness steadily in the head, at the center between the eyebrows, the ajna center. This thread, dual in nature, like two golden cables intertwined, passing from the heart and head, and connects you as a personality with the soul. When you have carried it upwards and seen it aligning and relating all three aspects of the personality, then pause in your meditation and quietly, silently realize that you are now face to face with your own soul and standing before the angel of the presence, who is yourself. You, the personal self, and the angel, the divine self, are one essential reality, manifesting through three aspects. You are therefore a reflection of the Trinity of Deity. There is in reality no separation or duality, no I or thou, but simply God in manifestation, whose nature is light. Then say to yourself, having pervaded this world of the little manifested self, with one fraction of myself, I remain greater, wider, and overshadowing all my daily living. Focus upon this in thought for 5 minutes. Then say, I, the manifesting self, through the magical power of my nature, revitalize, redeem, reabsorb this fraction dwelling in the body. Focus upon this in mind for 5 minutes. Then carry the life and light of the angel of the presence back again consciously into the body, and know it to be there, illuminating your mind, rendering positive quiescence of your astral nature, and invigorating and stimulating your physical body. Do this slowly, using your will. Then send forth the incoming light and love in strength and blessings to all your brothers and sisters, to all your immediate family and environment whom you seek to aid, to all distressed humanity. Then say aloud, may the energy of the divine self inspire and the light of the soul direct. May I be led from darkness to light, from the unreal to the real, from death to immortality. Okay, just relax. Keep your eyes closed. I'm going to play the bowls for a moment or two. Open your eyes on that one. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Peace on earth, goodwill to all mankind. Please.